So Reggie this week was at the Games Award. We all saw him there, and basically all he did was he just tweeted out to Jeff Keighley like, "Can I get an invite?" And they brought him in. And he presented an award. But while he was there, he was asked by the Hollywood Reporter about game-changing moments in video games. And for Reggie, it's all about advancing in streaming, which is a little bit weird coming from somebody that was with Nintendo. But pretty much, he says, as the technology evolves to be cloud, and as download speeds increase, what it means is you're going to be able to play any game on any device at any time. And then basically this article, we pulled the article off of NintendoLife.com. They're saying, of course, he doesn't expect it to take off right away. When it does, though, he believes that it will provide players with some meaningful experiences. He says it will happen over the next decade and be something that is really meaningful for players. He continues on to say, if you talk to really active gamers, there's a level of dissatisfaction because of the lag and other things that happen currently. The question is, at what point will the technical infrastructure for that be a truly compelling experience? And that's the crazy thing. Like, so we do know that Google Stadia hit a couple weeks ago. xCloud is in a beta state at this moment. Mm-hmm. And it's just nuts to hear that, like, there is a definite lag input that people are upset.
Bad.
Yeah, people are upset about it. And it really, we didn't talk about it too much during the Game Awards, but they're lying to customers straight up, or potential customers. And I don't agree with their ad thing. They're basically pushing 4K at 60 frames. If you watch those ads from the Game Awards, that's what every single ad said. 4K,
and the amount of people who can actually stream at that strength is a lot lower than what they're saying,
yes,
if any.
Yes.
Really.
I talked to Todd Oxtra this week. I messaged him, and we were talking about it a little bit. And he said, he goes, dude, I can barely get 720. He's like, it's crazy. He's like, I am very dissatisfied with the product at the moment. He goes, I have faith that they'll fix it. I don't have any faith in Google at all. I think if this is going to work, it's all on the backs of Microsoft. I think
they're in on it a little too early.
I think it's, see, what I feel is the way that Microsoft is handling this is, hey, here's our cloud gaming. This is the future. But by the way, here's this gigantic brick block that we're going to put on your shelf, and you can play with this thing for the next generation. And then, which, like Reggie's saying, in the next decade, right? So a decade is typically a generation of gaming. Mm-hmm. A console will run anywhere from 7 to 10 years, depending on how good it does and across the board. So it's interesting to see that, like, A, Reggie's saying, 10 years, and then B, here's Microsoft, who's in on the ground floor of it, going like, here's Project X Cloud, you can work with this for now, but here's your big beast. This is going to get you keep going.
And Google's saying, yeah, it's possible now, but
it's not. Really not. It's not, and it's. I don't know. I feel like it's really false advertising when you get down to it. Like, of course, there's some people that can do it, but what's that number need to be in order for them to be able to advertise that? One person? That's not right.
And I feel like if you're looking at this quote, I think a lot of people are going to say, wait, Reggie's saying this, so is Nintendo close? And that's not really the case, because Reggie is he's part of the gaming industry now.
Yeah.
Yes, he has ties with Nintendo, but he's more of like someone in the industry talking. And I do agree with him that maybe in the next 10 years, this will be the norm. But right now, man, it is rough. We're going to look back and be like, we could only stream like 720. I personally don't have any I don't really have any interest of streaming, and I don't think necessarily gamers want to stream. Like, the best experience I've had with something like this is Game Pass, but even then you have to download to your console.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of streaming, yeah, he's probably right with 10 years minimum, I think, to get a good experience.
For me, an old school gamer, I'm not a fan of this idea at all. I mean, you just held up your Geek Out as a physical copy of Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play my games anytime I want. That anytime, anywhere philosophy, that only works if you have an internet connection.
Yep.
And I don't want to be dependent upon the internet. Like right now, I could literally go on a car ride and play, a game, and or I can go on a flight and play a game. But you can't necessarily do that anytime, anywhere. Like that's what's beautiful about the Switch. I feel like the Switch is the closest to that mantra, anytime, anywhere, than anything. But like with what Xbox is doing, I get it, I understand it, you know what I mean? Like, but I just am not a fan of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
inevitable.
It's gonna take a hard sell from me, honestly.
Yeah.
And,
we're already seeing consoles looking like PCs. Like this is going to happen. Yeah. It's just like the technology has to catch up.
And as I say that, I mean, I bought this on Black Friday. I bought the 1 terabyte, micro SD card because of digital games. But that's different. Like I own the game. Like it's still mine. Like in that particular philosophy of like, let's just throw a hypothetical out there, right? So what if I'm a huge fan of Kirby, right? And I want to play Kirby today. But Nintendo just went and said, like, end of the month, that game's coming off our list. Yeah. And you can't play it no more. And it's like, wait a minute, man, I really love this game. I can't play it anymore. So until they fix that, I don't feel like this works at all.
It's a scary situation, man, because like months ago we had DuckTales getting removed from the DuckTales Remastered, getting removed from all the services. Yeah. And that's going to happen. And I feel like more homebrews are going to become more popular. And it's just, I don't know, the future of gaming, man, it's a little scary.
It is.
In terms of preservation.
And when you say that homebrew, you're going to be like, I'm not a fan of pirating games. I don't like that at all. I don't want to do that. I want to give the developer money where I can. Yeah. But when they take stuff away from you, it just makes you go like, oh, is it? Because essentially, the reason why DuckTales is being pulled off is because of a licensing agreement with Disney that Capcom had, and that agreement's coming to an end. And it's like, that's where it's even scary going digital all the time. Yeah. Like, I have that game on my Wii U, digitally saved. But let's just say, hypothetically, right, that game's not downloaded to my console, right? It's on my external hard drive, and my external hard drive takes a crap. Now I lose all those games, but I can't go back and re-download the game because it's pulled off the eShop. So it is one of these things that, like, even though I have this SD card, I take a risk. You know what I mean? Like, it's a risk that, like, 10, 15 years from now, I can't play these games. But then, like, here I am playing games 30 years ago if I want to, just by hooking up my NES. Yeah. And it's nuts. You know what I mean? Like, how is it that 30 years ago, they had a system that was going to last forever? And now, as we move forward in modern technology, we have a system that you're lucky you could maybe get 10 years out of something, and you might never be able to play it again. Like my brother, it's crazy. My brother just sent me a picture, right? Or sent me a video. He lives in North Carolina now, and he went to his fiance's house. Her parents' house, and they pulled out this. I don't know if you've ever seen this thing. It's called a Vectrix. Okay. It looks like a little arcade cabinet, right? Yep. But it's black and white. It comes with a controller that plugs into the thing, and it has games that you enter in the side slot. This thing's like 35, almost 40 years old. And here's a video he showed me of him and her playing it. And I'm like, the Switch will never have that story. The Switch will never have that story. You know what I mean? Like, there's some physical copies, but like, okay, maybe it won't never, it'll have that story. But what I mean is like, but will it? 40 years from now, what if a game that you want to play, you can't play because you don't have the patch to update it?
Exactly. Like, there's a lot of day one patches that literally fix games or make games playable. Yeah. You talk about preservation, like, are you going to be able to play anything in the like? There's some games you could just pop in and play no problem, but there's a lot of day one updates that fix like major bugs and crashes. So
I mean, if you turn around, right? If you turn around and you go buy, I don't know, you go buy Super Mario Odyssey. Not even that. Let's do Breath of the Wild, right? So let's do Breath of the Wild because we know that has a major patch to it. Yep. But you can't contact the internet. You can't do anything, and you never owned that game before, right? But yet you bought this system, you're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna buy this game too, and you buy the game,
Mhm.
you're like, it don't work, like it's not gonna work, and that's just weird to think that you could actually have a physical game that might not work because of a day one patch. It's crazy.
There's a lot of games that do it too.
Oh, I know, especially third parties. Third
Yeah.
parties are notorious for it. What was it? Joey Splats was just complaining the other day that he preloaded Halo Reach. I think it took him like 3 to 4 hours to preload it, whatever. He goes to fire it up, and there's a day one patch.
Oh my god.
And he's like, why did I pre-download this thing if there's a patch?
Yep.
Like, this is stupid, you know? And that's something that happens, you know what I mean? Like, that's something that, like, it's one thing that I love about Nintendo because it's rare that they do it,
Yep.
but they still do it occasionally. It's there like, on occasion.
Wow. That whole thing about the Breath of the Wild thing, that's like eye-opening right there.
It is. Because
Wow.
the thing of it is, you remember when we first played that game, there was no patch day one, right?
Yeah.
And you played it, and when you went into tall grass areas or you went into the woods,
The plateau was a disaster.
yeah, it was. Let's not get
Well,
crazy.
not disaster,
but there
not
was a lot of slowdown anytime you got
Yeah.
into heavily grassed areas, right? And then they found out that it was because of the Wi-Fi. They throw an update to it, they patch it, and that all went away. And occasionally, when you go into the Lost Woods, it gets a little hectic. But for the most part, it's pretty seamless through. But
Yeah.
imagine if you couldn't, like, you'd have slowdown all the time in that game, you know? And it's like, do I really?
And then these younger kids are gonna be like, why do these guys like Breath of the Wild so much?
Well, there's people today that say that, so it's a difference.
Yeah.